Hi, welcome to my kitchen. My name's Danielle from the food blog Ginger Rose, and today I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite easy weeknight classic dinners, ham and cheese crepes with sauteed spinach. Now I know that crepes can sound a little intimidating if you've never made them before, but I can show you just how simple they are. Once you've made about 3 crepes, you start to get the hang of how to fry them, and that's the hardest part. Then it's just filling them, coming up with different fillings, which is the fun part because your imagination is your only limit. So I'm going to show you just how to make a basic crepe first, and then I'm going to show you how I fill them with our ham, cheese, and sauteed spinach mixture. That's going to be great as a dinner. You can serve some vegetables on the side. It'll be a nice substantial dinner, or you can serve it for lunch on its own, and that would be great. Or breakfast. This is one of those meals that can take you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So the first step to making crepes is making a killer crepe batter. And you're gonna see this is the simplest step of the entire dish. You just throw all your ingredients into one bowl, whisk it up, throw it into the fridge for an hour. And that's the great time for you to work on your filling. Or if you want, you can prepare this batter before work if you're gonna make it for dinner. Just give it a little whisk before you add it to the pan. You can even add it the evening before if you're gonna make it for breakfast. And the reason why I like to give it another whisk is you'll notice the batter can separate after a few hours. That's not a problem at all. Like I said, just whisk it up, but you don't want to leave it for more than a day. That will kind of compromise the flavor and texture of the batter. And with that, it's time to get cooking. So our first ingredient is 3 whole eggs. So I'm just gonna crack these into our big bowl where everything's gonna go. And I just like to keep a garbage bowl out on my counter. It just makes things easier, not running around back and forth. And I like to do the eggs first because I like to give them a little bit of a beat before I add the other ingredients. I just find it's easier in the end when you add the milk. It gets a little bit splashy and messy, so if I do this first, it saves me from that. So now I'm going to grab my whisk and give the eggs a little bit of a beat. Just kind of break up the yolk. Just like that. That's all I need. You can see. All right, and to that I'm adding a cup of milk. You can add whatever milk you have, whole milk, skim, whatever you have on hand, it really doesn't matter. I'm also going to add 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and because I often like to use my batter for both sweet and savory crepes, I'm going to add a nice big pinch of sugar. And now if you're making this for just sweet crepes, you can add a little bit more if you want, but I find this is a really nice balance for both crepes, so this would be fine for either one. And I'm just gonna whisk this up. So you don't have to really worry about over mixing this because oftentimes people will make this in a food processor, which is mixing it a heck of a lot more than your wrist. But I find that this saves me the mess of cleaning my food processor, which is really annoying to clean. There's so many pieces. And once you have a really nice homogeneous batter, you're good to go. All right, our batter is whisked. It's ready to go. You saw how simple that was. So now I'm just going to put this into a container, get it in the fridge, let it rest for an hour, and that gives me great time to work on the filling. So the first step to making our filling is making our sauteed spinach. So we're not going to measure anything for our filling, we're just going to eyeball it all. And so I have roughly 2 cups of baby spinach leaves here, and to that I'm also going to add a half an onion, which I'm going to finely dice, and 1 garlic clove that we're going to mince. And I'm going to use the microplane today, and I'm just going to run my garlic along there, and that's going to save me the trouble of mincing it. It's going to do all the work for me. So I'm just running my garlic clove over the microplane, and this is just a really fast and easy way of mincing garlic without using any knife skills. So it does all the work for you. It traps it all in the microplane, so you can even just pop that right in. So I'm going to save it in there just because it's so nice and easy for me. So I've sliced our onion in half, peeled it, and now I'm ready to get a nice fine dice on this. And you want it pretty small because you want it to just blend into your sauteed spinach. You don't even really want to notice it. So as you can see, I left the root end on my onion because this is what's going to hold it together while I'm chopping. It makes it so much easier, gets your other hand out of the way. And I'm just gonna run my knife through this. Nice and fine. So I just added a tablespoon of olive oil to the pan, and I'm going to add my onion now. You can hear that sizzle. I love that sizzle. So I've got my pan set to medium heat, and I'm sauteing my onion that I've chopped fine. And this isn't going to take long at all because we're not adding any color. This is known as sweating your vegetables, which means to cook without color. So my onion is nice and translucent, which means it's time to add my minced garlic. So I've added my garlic. It's been in for about 30 seconds, and that's all we want because garlic gets bitter when you burn it. So to this, I'm going to add my spinach. Get it nice and mixed. Season this up with some salt and pepper. I like to use kosher salt because you can really feel how much you're adding. And I always pre-grind pepper at the start of the week, so I have freshly ground pepper throughout the week. And I just keep it in a pinch bowl. So I've got everything in the pan. My onion, garlic, the baby spinach. I've seasoned it with some salt and pepper. And this isn't going to take long at all. You already remember the volume. It was about 2 cups before. So it's almost done. And I like to take the spinach out just a little bit before it's actually done because it's going to continue cooking in the heat of the pan. So our spinach cooked for about 2 minutes. And it's done, it's wilted. I'm gonna take this off the element, and I'm gonna get this in a container so it's ready to fill for our crepes. All right, we are ready to assemble our crepes. We've got everything within arm's reach, which is what you want with crepes because it goes so quickly as soon as the batter hits the pan. So I've prepared everything here for me. We've got our prepared crepe batter that's been sitting in the fridge for about an hour. We've got some honey smoked ham from the deli, some grainy gourmet mustard, and some grated Monterey Jack cheese. I'm just using Monterey Jack cheese today because that's what I had and I think it'll go well. I often use Gruyere, and that's the beauty of crepes is that you can play around, swap things out based on what you have or what you think it will work well. If you have cheddar and not Monterey Jack, use that. Brie, why not? So play, find what works for you, make it easy on yourself. And we also have the prepared sauteed spinach that we made earlier. All right, our pan is preheated. I've got it to about medium heat. This is the kind of thing where you have to play around with your own stove to see what works. And don't worry about the first few crepes. Consider those your snack. Don't worry about serving them. If you've never made crepes before, you are bound to mess up a few crepes, especially when you're feeling out the heat of your stove. So don't stress those first few crepes. Once you get the hang of it, it will become super easy. So I've got it about medium, maybe just a little bit under. And I'm gonna add a little bit of nonstick spray. And about a 1/4 cup of my batter. And I am using a crepe pan here, but you don't have to use a crepe pan. You can definitely use a nonstick. I used a nonstick for years before I got my crepe pan. All right, so I'm adding a 1/4 cup of batter. And I'm just gonna move it around right away to cover the surface of our pan. And you can see that this is really shiny right now, but when it turns consistently matte on top, that's when you're ready to add your filling. You can even add your cheese a little bit before then because you want it to get nice and melted in your crepe. Oh, I'm already gonna add my cheese right now because it goes so quickly. And I often like to keep the heat just below medium at this point so that the bottom doesn't burn. And to that, I'm going to add my honey smoked ham, just a few pieces. And a little bit of our grainy mustard. And this is going to add flavor, but it's also going to act as our glue to hold the crepe together. And then we're going to add our sauteed spinach mixture. All ready to flip, I like to use a nice flexible spatula so it can get under the crepe nicely. And you're just gonna fold the top over. And I just like to flatten it down a little bit, make sure it's stuck together. And I'm only gonna give this about 20 to 30 seconds and transfer it to my plate. All right, just that simple. And we're all done. It was just that easy. So now you know how simple it is to make a nice, satisfying, and delicious meal. All it takes is a little bit of prep. Make your batter in advance, make your spinach in advance, and then it's just a matter of assembling when you're ready for dinner. So excuse me, I'm going to enjoy my delicious crepe right now, and I hope that you make this in your home too and get to enjoy it as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Danielle from Ginger Rose. Take care.